Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon, evening, or possibly morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to UC San Diego. This is one of our early sessions that we do for orientation, our pre-orientation session for new international students at UC San Diego. Today's program will focus on starting your program either remotely or arriving in person to UC San Diego this fall. And this is specifically for graduate international students joining us. So again, a warm welcome to UC San Diego. We wish we could all be welcoming you in person the way we have for so many years for our international students. You can see here, these are some of our lovely international students we got to meet last year at orientation at our building. But we are very hopeful that we'll get to see you at some time soon in the future. And even though everything now has gone remote because of the pandemic, we are really confident that we're going to provide you with the best services, resources, and I'm joined by my colleagues today to help provide some of those resources to you in helping you get started on your journey to UC San Diego. So just before we get started here, a few introductions. My name is Gabriela Hoffman. I'm the Assistant Director of Student Experience and Engagement at the International Students and Programs Office, or as we call ourselves, Ispo. We're joined today by my colleagues from the Graduate Division, Sally Binney and Shana Slaviota. We also have our Housing Administrative Services people here. We have Sabrina Wong, Michael Salas. And we also have colleagues from Student Health Services, Annie Horton and Jill Patika, to talk about these various different elements on campus that I know we're getting a lot of questions about, understandably. And it'll be important for you to hear some of their updates. They can provide answers to some of your questions as well today to help you through the arrival process, whether that is remote or in person this fall. So here's a brief agenda of what we are going to go over today. So we're briefly going to go over the International Students and Programs Office, what we do here at UC San Diego, how we are here to support you. Then we're going to spend some time going over the recent Student and Exchange Visitor or SEVP updates and its impact on enrollment for fall 2020. We'll go over some of your options, whether you're considering remote or in-person study and how you can plan for the fall. Then we'll bring in our colleagues from Graduate and Family Housing to go over their updates, and they'll also talk about quarantine housing as well. Finally, we'll have my colleagues from Student Health Services go over immunization and health insurance requirements, both for those who are remote and who will be here in person for the upcoming year. And we'll end with resources and time for Q&A as well. I do want to mention, I know I mentioned at the very beginning, that if you would like to ask any questions, please use the Q&A box on your screen rather than the chat box. My colleagues are online. They are looking at those questions. We will try to answer them at the end of the presentation so we can collect these. And we can ask a few out loud so that everyone can benefit. But try to answer, put those in the Q&A box and we'll get to them as quickly as we can. Okay, so just a little bit about Ispo. We are from the International Students and Programs Office. We are a staff of 20 professional staff here to support you in every way in starting your journey here at UC San Diego. We also have 10 student staff who work with us all year. Not only do we provide services in terms of your visa advising and so forth, but we host a whole range of programs to help you adjust to campus, to get you connected to campus. So we offer a variety of services on campus, and we like to think of ourselves as the one-stop shop for you. If you're not sure where to go, you can always contact Ispo, and we can direct you to the right office where they can help answer your questions. Again, we're a team of expert staff. We're here to support you, all of you, with your personal academic goals, your transition to campus and student life, and meaningful engagement with the university and local community. So before we get too much further into the regulations, I wanted to pass this over very quickly to my colleague Sally Binney in the Graduate Division, just to go over some reminders from graduate admissions.
Thank you, Gabi. I just wanted to remind everyone that there are checklist items that need to be taken care of. And those are broken into the what to do immediately, before arriving on campus, after arriving on campus. And then there's a separate international students list that Gabi will be going through. But the one that I wanted to address right now pertains to admissions, and that can be found in the before arriving on campus category. And what I would like everyone to do, if you haven't done so already, is be sure to go onto your student portal, and you will see there if there are any pending documents. All of these can be linked out on either the portal or the website, but for the particular item of pending admissions documents, you'll want to be on your student portal. Gabi, if you could jump to the next slide.
Sure.
So in the interest of space, I've used a domestic institution here, but if you see on your portal that there are pending admissions documents, it will list out what we require, an explanation of what we're asking for, and then it'll tell you if you want to mail it to us, this is our address. If it's e-transcripts, please send it to this email address. If it's CHESIC or CDGDC, please follow those instructions. But if you have pending admissions documents listed, it means that we require these in order to finalize your admissions. If you have no pending admissions documents listed on your student portal, then it means you're finalized. If we have received them, you will see under the item the wording documents received in queue for processing. That means we have it. We just need a little extra time to go through them. Right now, we're receiving a very high volume of official documents. But this is something you should try and take care of prior to leaving your home country. The sooner we can get you finalized, the better. And a quick note, we hope nobody's going to defer because we're so excited to have you all be part of the UC San Diego family. But if situations change and you are thinking about deferring, the protocol is to please contact your department. If you're not sure who to reach in your department, you can go to our grad.ucsd.edu website, and all department contact information is listed there. And deferrals are at the discretion of the departments. You will need to talk to them, and then they will contact us and let us know that a change is being made. And what I mean by it's at the discretion of the departments, they're the ones that determine if you can defer till winter or till spring, and some departments will have you defer till fall of 2021. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Sally, for those reminders and that information. So now I wanted to go over the student and exchange visitor updates and its impact on enrollment. I know we're getting a lot of questions about this, understandably. There's been a lot of confusion ever since initial guidance was released in July, and there's been a lot of back and forth. So I want to make sure that students know what that they need to be doing to prepare for this fall, whether they're staying in their home countries, whether they're coming here, or if they're going to be in online courses and so forth. So we're going to spend some time going over those details here. So just to update everybody on where the latest guidance stands, on July 24th, Student Exchange Visitor SEVP guidance clarifies UC San Diego's ability to issue and maintain SEVIS records for newly admitted students for fall 2020. So what does that mean? It means newly admitted students will be eligible to receive a Form I-20 for F1 or DS 2019 for J1, reflecting a fall 2020 start date, and can seek entry into the US so long as they are not enrolled in 100% online coursework and plan to be physically present in the United States. So what does that mean in practical terms for our students? What do I do now? What documents do I need? So we're going to go over this step by step because it can get a little bit confusing. So first, we ask our students to kind of start here at the very top, looking at your current situation. Are you currently outside the United States or inside? We have some who are inside the US who transfer their to undergrad programs, to grad programs, and so forth. So I want to make sure we address both populations. Next, you have to consider, are you planning to enter the US this fall? Yes or no. We know this is severely impacted by availability of visa appointments, travel restrictions. So there are a lot of things to consider. But we know every student situation is different. Some might be planning to come, some might be planning not to come for various reasons. So you have to consider that. If you are inside the United States right now, if you plan to remain in the US for fall quarter, that is transition right into your studies this fall, you are eligible to maintain your F1 or J1 status as long as you maintain full-time enrollment, which is 12 units per quarter at UCSD. For those of you who are outside the United States, depending on how you answered, let's go and look at the next option here. Are you enrolled in a minimum of one hybrid or in-person course? So you can answer yes or no. And I know enrollment is ongoing. There are changes that are going to occur. But to the best of your ability, do you know you're going to be enrolling in at least one in-person or hybrid course? Again, a note for those who are inside the United States. If you plan to remain in the US for fall quarter, so you're already here, you're just transitioning to your studies this fall, you can choose any course you'd like. So it can be fully remote, in-person, or hybrid, as long as you maintain full-time enrollment. Okay, so that is the one distinction between students who are already here, who already have been maintaining their F1 status, and those who have not entered the United States yet. So for those of you deciding who are outside the US, yes or no? If yes, you are wanting to come into the United States, you have at least one hybrid course or in person, what do you need to do next? So for those students, we want to make sure that you have the correct start date on your I-20, which you should if you already received a document from us, if you requested this via the iPortal. For those of you who are attempting entry, you should be receiving or should have already an I-20 or DS 2019 that has a September 28th start date or thereabouts. We know some students start a little bit earlier. If you're part of a summer prep program or something, you should have a fall start date. And I'll go over remarks in just a moment as well, but you should have a fall start date, and you have the option of having a remark added to your I-20 or your DS 2019 record as well. If you are not enrolled in at least one in-person or hybrid course, that is, you're in 100% online courses, you are outside the United States, then you will need to make an adjustment to your program start date and make plans to enter for winter 2021 instead of entering for fall. Okay, so again, if you don't have at least one class that you're planning to take in person, everything is 100% online, you will need to remain outside the United States. You are not eligible for entry, and we would need to adjust your documents to reflect a winter 2021 start date. No remarks are required on your documents, which I'll go over again in a moment. For those of you then, so that's the biggest distinction. For those of you who are in the United States again already, you are planning to either take fully remote courses, or you are planning on taking some hybrid, some in-person courses. You hold on to that I-20 that we gave you initially, or your DS 2019. You do not need any remarks added. There is nothing required further from you at this point. You can keep the original I-20 or DS 2019 that we gave you. Okay, so what does this mean then? How should you begin your program this fall? So if you're outside the US, you're planning to come to the US, you have that that hybrid or in-person course, you can seek entry into the US all the way up to the end of week 2, which is October 16th. And you should remain enrolled in at least one hybrid or in-person course if you can, okay? So that's gonna be really important that you maintain that enrollment. If you do not have any enrollment in in-person or hybrid courses, and you are going to need a winter 2021 start date, you have to remain outside the US for the entirety of fall quarter and remain enrolled in fully remote courses. And again, if you are in the US, you may remain in the US and remain enrolled in fully remote courses if that is something that you choose to do. That is an option for our continuing students who are on continuing F1 CVIS records. So what do you do then? If you're one of these students who's outside the US, you need to make an adjustment one way or another in your documents. What do you need to, how do you request that from Ispo? Okay, so if your program start date needs to be adjusted, or if you would like a remark written on your I-20 to support your entry into the United States for fall, you will need to go into the iPortal, iportal.ucsd.edu, submit the new admit I-20/DS 2019 amendment reprint request, and we will send you an updated I-20 or DS 2019. Just to make a note, I-20s for students will be uploaded electronically unless you specifically want a hard copy that you'll have to arrange shipping for. These will all be uploaded electronically, which is confirmed valid for both visa interviews and for entry into the United States. For those who are on J1 records, you will again, I should say, you will receive hard copies of these documents. The reason for that is that the J1 program and F1 program are managed by different entities within the government, and there are certain rules about J1 documents. So you will have to receive a physical copy if you're adjusting your start date. If you're getting remarks added as a J1 student, they will be added electronically in your record. They do not show up on your DS 2019 document, but you will receive confirmation that the notes are added for you if you're attempting entry for fall. So I know this is a lot of information. We're trying to spell this out as clearly as possible because there's so many situations for our new students coming in. This and further information is actually posted on our website, which we'll go over in a little bit, that helps explain what to do next. Okay, so going over the logistics of registering for a hybrid or in-person versus online course. There's a lot of confusion about some of the terminology of registration in certain courses. What do those courses look like in the online course catalog and such? We really encourage students to consult with not only your department, that's always going to be your first port of call for graduate students to make sure you're enrolling in the classes that you need, make sure you're working with your graduate coordinator. But if you're looking for an explanation of certain courses, how they're listed, what enrollment will look like, we highly encourage you to visit the Registrar's Fall 2020 FAQ section. This goes over all the different terminology and how to enroll in certain courses, what is a hybrid course versus online, and so forth. So this should hopefully be of help to you. We have the link there listed below. So just to go back a little bit to the remarks being added to I-20 documents and DS 2019s for those who are wishing to enter for the fall with at least one hybrid or in-person course. We do want to say that on July 24th, the SCVP guidance clarified these are actually not required. However, we know that some students encountered difficulties at their visa appointments early on who didn't have these documents, didn't have these remarks. And we want to make sure we're facilitating your visa appointments, your entry, and supporting you as you come into the US. So Ispo, again, we can provide these if you requested via the iPortal to facilitate coming into the United States and getting your visa. Again, these are not required for students who are already here, CVIS transfer students. They're not required for students entering for winter or spring 21. So if you are one of those students who is deciding to take your classes online for the fall, but not enter into the winter, until the winter or spring, you will not see those remarks on your document. They're not required. I also want to call your attention to a travel support letter. So Ispo, in partnership with the Registrar's Office, has put together a support letter for all of our international students entering the United States. This is available for download in the iPortal when you log in under the notification section. So you can take this with you either to your visa appointment or to the port of entry when you travel to the United States, just to help further explain UC San Diego's model of hybrid instruction, and that you are able to enter the United States up to October 16th. And again, just want to draw your attention to the iPortal. So if you're remaining outside the US with 100% online classes, or if you're deferring your program, then you will need to make sure that you adjust your I-20 or DS 2019 accordingly. And I do want to point out that if you are deferring, as Sally mentioned, this is on a case-by-case basis. It does need to be arranged directly with your department and graduate division. So if by deferral I mean you're not actually starting any classes until the winter, you need to make sure you have that approval from your department and graduate division first, and then you can submit your request to the iPortal to have your I-20 or DS 2019 updated accordingly. Okay, so now moving on to our next section here, looking at arriving, so to speak, either remotely or in person to study this fall. So I want to spend some time to give to my colleagues to talk about what to prepare for, how to plan for fall 2020, depending on whatever situation you're in for this term. So we'll start off with graduate and family housing to give their updates on housing and quarantine housing as well.
Hello, this is Sabrina Wong. I am from the housing department here on campus, and I have Alfonso Solano also online with me. We're going to co-present a few slides to explain graduate housing, what is available, and how our programs are going to work for those of you that will be coming in the fall, and if you are coming in the winter, what to expect as well. Next slide, please. So first, we'll start with those students that will be in person for fall. The first thing you need to do is decide if you will quarantine on campus or off campus. The CDC regulations currently for students coming in from an international country, the request is for you to quarantine for 14 days. So you need to decide first if you're going to do that on campus or off campus. If you will be living off campus for the fall, then you can self-quarantine on your own in your own off-campus apartment that you have leased. If you are leased this fall on campus and are leased into a studio or a one-bedroom, then you may also quarantine in that fall space for those 14 days. As you do so, you will have to arrange for food delivery because the expectation is that when you quarantine for 14 days, you do not leave your apartment. So you must arrange for food to be delivered, and you can do that online using different services out there like Grubhub, as an example. Grocery stores will do delivery as well, and we can send out some quick lists of links that you can use if you decide to do that. If you are leased on campus for fall, but you're not in a studio or a one bedroom, you're in a shared apartment with other graduate students, then you cannot quarantine in your apartment because you will have other people there. So this is where you need to decide, okay, I will either quarantine on my own. I have family or friends nearby that can facilitate me quarantining for 14 days, or I choose to pick a hotel and do that on my own. We have options available with local hotels at pre-negotiated rates, so they're discounted for UCSD students that you can do. Or you can quarantine in our program on campus, and that program is called Quarantine Housing for Students Arriving from International Locations. And the way you do that is you go to the housing portal, and I will send out a link in the chat when I'm done with the slides so that you can get there. It's on our website. It's in the undergraduate current student section, and there is a button that says housing portal. That is where you will get to that application. But again, you must hold a fall contract to be able to quarantine on campus. Okay, and again, I will provide that link to that application in the chat after I'm done with my slides. Okay, next slide, please. So this is how the on-campus quarantine for students arriving will work. As I just mentioned, you will go to the application. There's the link right there. If you want to take a picture of the slide, that works as well. This is a housing portal for our undergraduate students, but that is where this application sits. So that's where you will go to fill out the application. Once you have filled it out completely, you will receive instructions via email, your UCSD email account, before arrival that will give you instructions on where to go, where to pick up your key, what the time frame is for arrival, a phone number for you to call if you need help, if you arrive late in the evening, after working hours, again, that phone number so that you can talk to somebody. All of that will be laid out in instructions after you fill out the application. One thing I want to make really clear, though, is when you arrive, you need to be able to come with only things that you can carry and wheel by yourself. Because this is quarantine housing and there is contactless, it's a contactless environment, you are not going to have help carrying boxes. You're not going to have family members taking you to this quarantine housing. You have to walk into it by yourself. So again, you can only carry things that you can carry by yourself or wheel by yourself. There will not be any moving carts, again, in order to maintain a contactless environment. Once you get to your actual apartment and walk in on your own with wheeling your suitcase, the apartment that you will find will be a single occupancy apartment, meaning you will be the only person in that apartment. It will be furnished with the following: a bed, a desk, microwave, shower curtain, linen for the beddings, towels, toilet paper, pillow, and Wi-Fi will also be provided. There will be no laundry service, so for those 2 weeks, you will be using the same linen that is set in the room for you, your clothing and everything that you change in. That's what you've got for 2 weeks. We will deliver food to you, however. The food will be delivered to your apartment door. It will be charged to your student account. Again, that's also why this program is for students that will be living on campus in the fall. You will have a student account, and we will take care of billing the food to your student account, and it will be delivered to your apartment door for the entire 2 weeks. Okay, so that's how that works. The next 2 slides, I will introduce Alfonso, and he's going to explain how to get on-campus housing. So in case some of you are thinking, I think I do want on-campus housing so I can take advantage of this on-campus quarantine. Or you may be in a position where you may want to come for the winter. In either case, you need to get leased up on campus, and he's going to explain how you can do that.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sabrina. My name is Alfonso, and I'm a leasing consultant with Graduate and Family Housing. So the one thing to keep in mind is if you want housing, whether it's going to be a year from now or starting in the fall, you have to get on the wait list. We do have a wait list for our communities. We have several different communities that you're eligible for as a graduate student. The one important thing is to get on the wait list. So if you plan on starting the academic year remotely, you still need to get on the wait list. It's best if you do it now because we send offers on wait list time. So if you get on the wait list now and you want housing in 2021, you would already have been on the wait list for a certain period of time. That time is going to count on when you get an offer. So you'll be in a better place. If you have not applied and want housing for the fall or the winter, you still have options. On the screen there, you'll see the link on how to apply. Go click there and you'll get more instructions. Next slide, please. So for graduate students, there is going to be a wait list for several of our communities. Some have a wait list of over a year. However, we just opened up 2 brand new communities. That's Nuevo West and Nuevo East. Nuevo West is furnished. Nuevo East is unfurnished. And both of these communities have immediate availability. The rates include electricity, water, trash, gas, high-speed internet, cable, and parking. One of the pros of living on-campus housing is we do not charge a security deposit. We only request that you pay first month's rent. There's also no application fee and no long-term commitments. When you get a housing contract, it's for a 2-year fixed term. That means you can live on campus housing for up to 2 years. That's the limit. If you want to leave before your lease is up, let's say you want to leave in 3 months, you want to leave after 4 months, you can do so by submitting a 30-day notice to vacate. There's not going to be any penalties or fees, and that's all we require. Next slide, please. So we're definitely here to help. If you have any questions, you can send us an email. You can reach us at gradfamilyhousing@ucsd.edu or at gradfamilyhousing@ucsd.edu. We check our emails constantly, so that is definitely the best method to contact us. Thank you. Next slide.
Great. Thank you so much, Alfonso and Sabrina, for that information. So we're going to move on next here to our student health colleagues to talk about immunization and health insurance requirements, whether you are starting your program remotely or in person this fall. It looks like we might be having some tech difficulties. Bear with us just one moment.
Can you hear me now, Gabby?
Yes, we can hear you now, Jill. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. My name is Jill Batika, and I come to you from the Student Health and Wellness Clinic on campus at UC San Diego. I want to provide you with some information about the services that we offer at our Student Health Clinic and the health insurance requirement that we offer here at UC San Diego. Just a note to you, I'm going to refer to our Student Health Insurance Plan as SHIP. That's the acronym for Student Health Insurance Plan, or UC SHIP. The insurance plan that's offered is through Anthem Blue Cross PPO, and that's recognized nationally throughout the United States. Our Student Health Clinic is a comprehensive primary care physician clinic centrally located on our school campus. We're right on Library Walk across from our Price Center eateries. We provide physician and nursing services. We have a lab, x-ray unit, pharmacy, and an optometry showcase in our clinic. Services are available for all UC registered students. We don't open to staff or the public, so it's a lot easier to make an appointment, and accessibility is very good. We're open all year round, and we do have varying hours of operation, as you see there. We try to extend hours for students that might be working or attending school all day. We're open on Saturdays and extended hours on Mondays and Tuesdays during the regular school year. If the clinic is closed, we offer an after-hours nurse line. A registered nurse mans that phone line and gives advice to students on the next level of care that they should achieve. This is not just for students that have the student health insurance plan, it's for all students that are registered at UC. Students are automatically enrolled in the student health insurance plan. It is a requirement of the school to have health insurance. You can waive the requirement, but those students that do want the health insurance through the school, you don't have to act at all. You're automatically enrolled. And the first day of coverage for the normal fall school year this year would be September 28th. If you are in an early start program, you will have a different date of starting, or you'll have to waive by a different date. This year for the graduate students, each quarter you are automatically charged $1,285 for the health insurance. The health insurance does include unlimited coverage for medical and pharmacy services, and limited insurance for optometry, which provides an eye exam annually and a pair of glasses per school year. And they give you $1,000 worth of curative services for dental coverage. The services are worldwide, so if you are traveling abroad for fun, for school, or for work, or if you're remaining in your country, we do cover you at a 60% rate, and that is reimbursable back in the United States. So you would have to pay for your services and then seek reimbursement when you are in the United States. Most services at our student health clinic are at no cost or low cost, but we do encourage all people that are taking the ship, or if they are on a fee-for-service basis paying, you are welcome to come here and access care. We don't hold contracts with other insurance companies, so we can only bill our one insurance plan that we offer. Otherwise, you pay cash as you go. We are lucky enough here in San Diego through the UC system to have 3 major acute hospitals basically attached to our campus or in the nearby campus area. We have over 200 specialty physician programs available with state-of-the-art diagnostic and surgical interventions available for people. The cost and coverage is better if you access care at any of the UC facilities through the state of California. You have 90% coverage for all specialty care or hospitalization. A $10 copay is required for a specialty examination, and you're paying 10% out of pocket for any diagnostic or hospitalization. Under the second tier of the insurance coverage, you can access care through an Anthem Blue Cross PPO network provider, but the coverage is less. It's at 80%, and there is a $500 deductible. There is no deductible if you're utilizing a UC system provider, and a $30 copay to see a specialist. If you plan to go out of network or use that third tier of benefits, we highly discourage that because it is limited coverage and you have a $1,000 deductible that hits right away, meaning you have to pay the first $1,000 of the bills, and then the insurance will kick in and start paying 60%, but leaving you with an additional 40% to pay of those bills. So we encourage students to access care at a UC facility or an Anthem Blue Cross PPO provider. We don't mail out insurance cards. We ask that you download an app to your phone or your tablet. It's Student Health, all one word, and that will download a copy of your insurance card, show you who the providers are in the area, and allow you to view claims that have been processed under your account. For coverage information, we partner with the Office of the President through the UC system, so definitely visit that website, ucop.edu, or you can go to our website, studenthealth.ucsd.edu. Students that have insurance through their parents or through a private entity or through a government agency may waive the insurance requirement. You just have to do it during the set deadlines, otherwise you are out of luck. If you want to waive the insurance requirement and you not get billed for that $1,285 per quarter, you have to file what's called a health fee waiver. You do that on your Triton link. Under the financial tools, there's a hyperlink that says health fee waiver. You click on that and submit that between May 1st to September 1st. We'll review your insurance, and if it's approved, you will receive a payment on your student account that offsets the charge that's placed on your student account when you register. Each quarter, we ask that you renew that waiver each school year that you're here, but if you do apply for it before fall, you're waived for fall, winter, and spring, including summer, and then you would renew it the next fall. If you miss the fall waiver period and you call us and you ask us to make an exemption, we can't, because once a premium is paid, it's set and non-refundable. We do offer a late period on the waiver, and that will be open until September 9th. It is a $50 late fee that will be applied to your student account, but if you are denied for the waiver, we won't charge you that $50. The criteria is on our student health student health website at students.ucsd.edu. That'll explain what we're looking for and what the requirements are for the health insurance, and just remembering to renew that each school year. If you are international, a lot of our international students like to opt out of the insurance, they file a health fee waiver. They do that by purchasing an online insurance. We have been given approval through the Office of the President through UC to approve waivers for these 3 health plans that are offered. It's ISO Care Plan, PSI Platinum, or Student Medicover. Any of those plans meet our health requirements, and we can approve a waiver for you if you use those. You have to be insured for the entire school year under these plans in order to meet the waiver requirements. Students that waive the insurance requirement are still welcome to come into the student health clinic and receive care. We see you on a fee-for-service basis, meaning you pay as you go. The services at the student health clinic are minimal. It's about $99 to see a doctor without insurance. And if you don't pay that at the time of service, we will transfer that to your student account where you can take care of it at your convenience or when your statement's due. If you do file a health fee waiver and you change your mind and you want the school insurance, you can file a waiver cancellation or an exception to closed enrollment, and those forms are found on our studenthealth.ucsd.edu website. We'll process that and get you enrolled or take you off the waiver, whatever your desire is. We offer a supplemental plan, and it's not an insurance. It's a membership to come into the student health plan. So for students that waive the insurance requirement, they don't want the school insurance and they have their own insurance, they can pick up what's called a raft. And if you pay $65 per quarter, you belong to the reduced access fee for Tritons. That's what RAF stands for. And that means that you can come into the student health clinic on campus and receive scheduled appointments at no limit, those are unlimited, and unlimited in-house lab services like a chem panel or a CBC at no additional cost. So if you came to see the doctor on a fee-for-service basis, you'd pay about $99 to see the doctor. If you paid $65 per quarter, that would all be paid for under that $65 payment. This is in place to assist students that are here on campus that want to access care while they're here on campus in our clinic, and they can't go out to their insurance-covered primary care doctor. So we are here for you, and we'll help you with this process. If you do choose RAFT, you do get scheduled appointments and in-house lab services at no additional cost. But if you do need an x-ray or a pharmacy prescription, something that's not covered by the RAFT, then you would have to pay out of pocket for that and try and seek reimbursement from your home insurance for that. Or you'd want to go off campus to use your insurance for that. If you have questions, I know it's very confusing, please send us a message at ship3@ucsd.edu or give us a call at our phone number that's listed. Because of the pandemic, we are working remotely and we're answering within 24 to 48 hours. If you have any questions on the waiver or any questions because you are staying international or you're a distance learner, please send us a message through SHIP3 and we'll be glad to respond to you in writing so you have something to go off of. Also visit our website, studenthealth.ucsd.edu or ucop.edu, and we provide coverage information, and a lot of FAQs are found there. And I'm going to continue because Annie is not here. She is running a COVID-19 symptomatic clinic. She is our head nurse here at Student Health. And I'm going to present to you as best as I can in my non-clinical fashion what the health requirements are for incoming students for the academic school year 2021. So students are required to fill out forms and provide their checklist, checkoffs, as we already discussed. For students coming into the UC system, we make sure that you are negative for tuberculosis, and we ensure that you have vaccinations for Tdap, measles, mumps, and rubella, varicella for chickenpox, meningococcal MCV4, and those are for students that are younger than 22 years old only. Anyone over 22, you don't have to provide that. But we do need you to provide information that shows proof of that the vaccine was given or that a blood test has provided a titer that demonstrates immunity. The only exception to this is if there are medical reasons why a student can't receive a vaccine. And I strongly encourage you to contact our Ask a Nurse or call us, and we'll go over that with you if you have any questions about if you meet the exemption guidelines. But we truly need to know if you've had your tetanus with pertussis, that Tdap, the MMR, the measles, mumps, and rubella, varicella, and meningococcal. We also need you to provide evidence that you are negative for tuberculosis or TB. So why does the university require health information or vaccines? It's to protect you and to protect me. As you know, we're going through this pandemic and we're all trying to be safe and socially distant. So yours is a little bit more socially distant than ours, but it is to protect one another and make sure that we don't have outbreaks, because they have occurred here and it's not a good situation. We want to make sure that you come here and you're successful and you get your education. So we just want to make sure everybody is safe and nobody's out there sick or struggling. The way that you provide the evidence of the proof is to go onto your Student Health Services student portal. That's found at mystudentchart.ucsd.edu. What you'll need for this is your UCSD student AD login, your email and password. You've been issued that, I'm sure, upon admission. Once you log in there, you do have a checklist for your health requirements. And if you have any issues with accessing these forms, please report that at the blink.ucsd.edu technology website. So once you're on the My Student chart and you've logged in and you can provide your information, what you want to do first is to click on Health. So that number one there, click on Health, and that will take you right to the immunization forms. Secondly, you're going to click on Fall 2020 students because you're incoming for the Fall 2020 period. You're going to self-enter the information and upload any documents that prove evidence of those vaccinations or the negative reading. Your third step, if you do have any questions or you're not under the Fall 2020 students, or you want to know more about your TB requirements or immunizations, click on all other incoming students, and there are requirements there as well as forms that you can take a look at and see what might be needed from a healthcare provider. If you do have questions about mental health or counseling and psychological services, I encourage you to visit the CAPS website. That's for Counseling and Psychological Services. We partner with them throughout the campus, and they have many offices available to students if you are struggling or if you have any questions about receiving mental health or counseling services. Once you're on the My Student Health or on My Student chart, the immunization forms easily prompt you. You just click on Start and you'll upload your TB screening information, and then secondarily you're going to go into the immunization history screening and you're going to upload the dates and times, and then probably submit some paperwork that we can view to make sure that the vaccines are in place and all the requirements are met. The tuberculosis risk screening deadline for grads is November 1st, 2020. Same thing for immunizations, which we'll see in the next slide, but for grads, it's November 1st, 2020. You have to complete the TB risk assessment. If you're prompted to do so, you're going to complete the TB testing with a healthcare provider. TB testing can include either TB skin test, which is referred to as a PBD, or a blood test, which we refer to many times as quantiferon or T-spot. Either one of those tests will prove that you are negative for tuberculosis. A chest x-ray is acceptable. If you need to, that would be the third test that would be taken. Usually it starts with a skin test, graduates up to a quantiferon test, and then a chest x-ray might be required, depending on what your situation is. You want to upload the information, the testing form, and any certification up into My Student chart, and one of our registered nurses here in our student health clinic will review that and ask you any questions if they do have any, or clear you for those requirements. If we do have any concerns, we'll definitely reach out to you via My Student chart. It's always best to complete this as soon as possible because the TB and immunization requirements they won't affect your fall registration, but they could affect your winter enrollment. There might be a hold and you won't be dropped from classes, but it might prohibit you from registering for the winter quarter. So please do it as soon as possible. The immunization requirement for the graduate students, again, is November 1st. Please make sure that you do that and you have plenty of time to get that done. You want to make sure that you obtain a copy of your vaccine records. You use the immunization form to guide you through the My Student Chart checkoff. You go to a healthcare provider if you need to get records or receive vaccines or any titers that might be necessary. And then you want to upload that documentation right to our website. Or if you want to find out more information about the vaccines and what documents are accepted, please visit us at the wellness.ucsd.edu student health documents immunization requirements. And again, complete it as soon as possible. On your My Student chart, what you're going to see are some helpful little triggers there. If you hover over the little eyes, it's going to give you more information about what an MMR is. That's measles, mumps, rubella. We want to make sure that you have that immunization. And as soon as you have your records to upload that information, go right in and start typing in the date it was received, how it was received, and the information that they're looking for through those boxes. If you need help, please send us a message through Ask a Nurse, and that's found in My Student chart. You can discuss things with us, ask questions, get feedback. If you're not feeling well, you can certainly send us a message, but it's always better to call so you get an immediate response. You can email us at shstb@ucsd.edu if you're having any technical difficulties. And please go to our website where you can find more information about the health requirements and what we will accept. Also, the graduate division does provide our information on their website. So if you visit their website at grad.ucsd.edu under the admissions part, you'll be able to find our information. And again, please complete these as soon as you can so you have the time to do more services if you have to. And thank you for listening to our student health information, the insurance, as well as the health requirements. And I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can.
Great. Thank you so much, Jill, for that information. So I wanted to just transition the last piece of our presentation here to getting started at UCSD, whether remotely or in person, and that has to do specifically with our orientation, our onboarding, and other resources here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and turn it over to my colleague Shauna in the graduate division to talk about graduate orientation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shauna Slabiota. As Gabi mentioned, I work in the graduate division. I just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware of the online orientation modules that the graduate division has released new for this year, 2020. They are through Canvas, which is UC San Diego's learning management system. And we started launching those on July 1st, but as of today, the 4 modules are all available to students. They each highlight an important campus resource. We have them listed here: Grad Division, Student Health and Wellness, the Office for the Prevention of Harassment and Discrimination, as well as Counseling and Psychological Services. You should have received an invitation to view this material to your UC San Diego email address. If you are having issues accessing this information on Canvas, please contact gradlife@ucsd.edu, and one of our staff members will help you out to get set up. And this is just a screenshot of what these modules look like. So hopefully you have had a chance to visit if you haven't already, or if you've come and viewed some of the material, but you haven't had a chance to look at all 4 modules. It is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from anywhere in the world. So just again, if you haven't had a chance to log into Canvas and take a look, please do so at your convenience. And in addition to the online orientation modules that are available now, the Graduate Division is working on a series of virtual events that are geared toward new graduate students. This will be opportunities to get connected with campus resources, get your questions answered from a variety of campus offices. There will also be current student panels where you will have a chance to hear from current students about a variety of topics, and also some fun events. So it could be a trivia night or some sort of virtual game night. And the Graduate Division is actually working on these events in partnership with the Graduate Student Association. So we're really working hard to get some fun and educational activities available to you. Once that schedule is finalized and we will begin registration for these events, it will be on the Grad Life website. And so that's what I have here. Gradlife.ucsd.edu is where you can find this information. If you go to events and click on new graduate student orientation, this website will be updated as we finalize these plans. So thank you for listening and for connecting, and I'm looking forward to welcoming you all to campus in the fall.
Thank you so much, Shauna. And I just want to also draw attention to our students to Ispo's International Student Orientation, which we are actually in the middle of right now. This is part of our pre-orientation sessions that we're doing this week. I just want to let all of our students know, as with the Graduate Division orientation, we are going completely virtual. So this means a student can attend either from their home country, anywhere in the world, or in the United States. So the flexibility of this is really nice, and we have a whole suite of programs planned for you. Again, starting this week with our pre-orientation programs running through the 19th, all the way through September as well. And you'll see just some examples here. If you go to iorientation.ucsd.edu, there will be a variety of presentations on different topics specifically that pertain to international students, like employment eligibility. And we will be going over employment eligibility for students who are outside the United States this fall and taking classes, as well as students who are going to be in the United States this fall. In fact, next Tuesday, August 18th, we are having a whole webinar dedicated just to work authorization, on campus or off campus work authorization for international students. There's going to be a lot of good information there, so I encourage you to attend. But you can see here there are a lot of different workshops. It is required for international students to register, but we make it easier for you to do so. More information on our site at iorientation.ucsd.edu. And just like Shauna mentioned with Grad Life, we have various different engagement programs for you to get involved in as well. So not just webinars, but social experiences as well online for you to connect with other students. And then I also want to let you know about the different programs that Ispo is offering throughout the fall, throughout the academic year. Of course, we've had to shift things online, but I did want to kind of just highlight some of our main programs. Our English in Action Conversation program, which allows our students to practice their English language skills with native speakers here at UC San Diego or in the community, is still going. We have our different coffee hours, even though it might not be coffee hour at that specific time in your home country where you are. It's just a great social experience to connect with other students, other staff here. We have our intercultural social hour, our Thanksgiving exchange. We're hoping to have a virtual event as well. So these are just some samples of our different programs that I encourage you to explore at iprograms.ucsd.edu. That gives you an idea of what you can get involved in. And finally, I just want to share some resources and information, some of which our partners here went over today, but I want to make sure you have these links. It's really important to make sure you are up to date with what is happening on campus with the pandemic and how the campus is pivoting and moving based on information that is released regularly. You can learn about all of that at returntolearn.ucsd.edu. It's a really comprehensive site that goes over how UCSD is working through the pandemic, implementing safety measures and so forth to keep you safe when you're here. The Ispo website, of course, we encourage you to visit istudents.ucsd.edu. Again, current campus status updates, frequently asked questions specifically for international students. This is a great resource for you to check out to get questions answered that you might not be able to find other places. For those of you traveling to the United States, we encourage you to visit itravel.ucsd.edu. It goes over all the documentation you need to enter the United States. Up-to-date travel restriction information. We know that these are present, of course, as well. The travel.state.gov website has up-to-date information on travel restrictions and what you need to be aware of. Consulate appointments, any closures, updates. We would direct you to the usembassy.gov website to check on availability of visa appointments coming up. And then finally, this was mentioned in the housing presentation, but quarantine housing resources. I know Sabrina put the link as well, and a different link in the chat. There's information on quarantine housing specifics, how to apply, and so forth at this link here too. So I know we are running a little bit over time. I apologize for that. I hope all of your questions were answered in the Q&A box. We are, as I mentioned, holding another webinar next Tuesday, specifically for employment questions. Also, the information that we went over today is going to be posted on our website, on the istudents.ucsd.edu website. For you to go through. We always encourage you to contact us, icontact.ucsd.edu as well, to speak to an advisor over Zoom if you have any questions about your specific case. And again, finally, we encourage you to visit iorientation.ucsd.edu to take part in our other sessions and information workshops to help get you started here, whether remotely or in person this fall. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. We hope this was informative and helpful, and we look forward to connecting with you and seeing you at future sessions. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.